Ok, hola clase, este video es para hablar de por y para. En este video vamos a hablar de los usos de por y para que tenemos en español. Ok, sometimes we tend to refer or to use the word for or ideas like in order to talk about the use of por and para. Okay. However, por and para is very particular in Espanol and is not necessarily it's going to be all the time for, or it's not going to be all the time in order to or to, So we have to use certain rules to talk about the uses of por and para. Okay, we're gonna make it simpler than the book. In the book you have many rules as the ones that you see here. This paper, you can see it on files. If you go to files on Canvas, you can download this paper. So if you cannot see on the video what's going on here, so you can download the video and the paper if you go to files, you'll find it there. As a matter of fact, you can just go ahead, do this, stop the video right now, go to Canvas and then download this paper and then play back once you have the paper with you or in front of you. Okay? Muy bien. So, por y para. When do we use these two words? Okay? Now, to me, it's just to make a reference in Espanol. When I was learning English, for instance, we have these three prepositions in English. In, on, at. Just to talk to you about my experience. So these three prepositions in Espanol, the majority of the time are going to mean in Espanol only en. Okay? So when you say I'm in the movies, yo estoy en el cine, I'm write on the paper, escribe en el papel, or I'm at school, estoy en la escuela. So it's always going to be that. But in English it's very particular, And one anecdote that happened to me, is once, because when you think about the preposition in, you always think that you're inside. But there's exceptions to this one. So let me give you one. When you're in a plane, when you're actually on a plane, you don't say in, you say on. Like if you were right in the plane, right? So you're on the plane and then you're actually inside the plane, but then we have to use, different forms because there's exceptions to it. So this is kind of very similar to what happens, the in, on, at, and to what happens with por and para. Okay? So let's talk about por and para based on these first three rules that we have here. Okay, so let's talk about movement. When are we gonna use por when it comes to movement? It says through or by a place. La excursión nos llevó por. The tour took us through. Por. Okay, so you have to think in through as you're going from point A to point B and you're going through the place. Okay? So, por ejemplo, if you say voy por la clase, and this is la clase, this is our classroom, then what you're doing is entering one door, walking, and then exiting the other door. Voy por la clase. Okay? But when we use para, we have to think para as destination. So if you say voy para la clase, that means that this is the clase and somebody called you around here and you say to the person, oh, voy para la clase, because this is your destination. Okay? So that's when it comes to movement. Let's talk about time. Okay? So you say, leí este libro por 2 horas. So I read this book for 2 hours. So kind of similar. Por and for. See, you have the duration of an event. That's when we use por. But if you say, vamos a ver, el papel es para hoy. Okay? El papel es para hoy. So the paper is for today. So in this case we're saying is for, again, leí el libro por 2 horas. I read the book for 2 hours. El papel es para hoy. The paper is for today. So now we're talking about duration of time and deadline. Okay, so this is when the for starts getting those two ideas also. Let's forget about this. So I don't want you to get confused with that. Okay, so leí este libro por 2 horas. I read this book for 2 hours. El papel es para hoy. The paper is for today. The semantics, the meaning of the sentence is a little bit different. Leí el papel por 2 horas. It implies duration of time. El papel es para hoy implies deadline. Okay? Vamos a ver. The example that we have here. Escribe para mañana. Write for tomorrow. ¿Sí? Escribe para mañana. So, escribe una carta para mañana, por ejemplo. He surfed for 2 hours. Navegó por 2 horas. Notemos que is the same for, but then is different conception what we have here. Now actions. Let's talk about the actions. What is going on with the actions? So it says that we use por when we're doing something. So estoy tarde por el tráfico. And then para, for whom something is intended. Una sorpresa para él. Now this is also, and you see it here more specific. You know, it's more, you have an idea that is more broken down in different segments. Okay, this part is the same, but it's more detailed than the ones on top. Okay, so we have this idea, estoy tarde por el tráfico. So I am late because of. When you have that idea of because of, the reason of something, then when you're explaining that action and then you have a reason, then we're going to do por. Okay? So, por ejemplo, llegué tarde por hablar contigo. See, I arrived late because I was talking to you. Por hablar contigo. Okay, that's why we're using por in that case. Now, when it comes to actions, and then you're doing something for somebody, then you're going to say para. See? Este regalo, this gift, este regalo es para él. Este regalo es para él. This is intended for him. Okay? Now the rest, again, as I said before, it explains more what's going on with para and por. Okay? But if you have a good conception of what movement, again, movement in this case is through a place, in this case is destination. Time is duration. This is deadline at certain point. And actions because of, you're gonna use por, and then this one for actions or para, you're gonna use it for when something is intended to the person. Okay? La sorpresa, una sorpresa para él. La sorpresa es para él. Okay? If you have those 3 ideas, fine, then this is just giving you more examples of that. Okay, so let's do this. Pause the video, go to, but before you pause it, go to files and download this paper, okay? It is on the file where it says por and para, okay? And for what we're covering this week, download this paper and make sure that you have it in front of you or you print it so you can practice this. Okay, pause it and download it, por favor.